Does anyone relate to that video? About 3 years back, a regular weekday, I was sitting in the living room, just going through various things, stuff that a mommy would look up for the children on the computer, and it was a regular day. But suddenly, I felt my hands go numb, and my hands were shivering. I felt my heart pound. I could hear my heart in my ears. In probably a couple of seconds, I felt I couldn't breathe. Shortness of breath. I tried really hard. I tried to calm myself down. I said, just calm down. It's okay. There's really nothing that can cause this. I thought probably it is my post-pregnancy weight. And I said, this is it. Warning sign. Get up. Smell the coffee. Go work out. But then this feeling didn't go away. I was not able to breathe. I had to be rushed to the ER. And there I was. I had an altered ECG reading. But in a matter of minutes, everything was back to normal. A lot of tests were conducted, and every ailment ruled out, every life-threatening disease ruled out. And about 5-6 hours later, the doctor said, please go home, sleep well, please watch a movie, please don't stress, and go on a holiday. That was his prescription. And just to slip a note so I have a reference, he gave me a relaxant drug. That evening, my sister-in-law called me. She happens to be a psychologist. She was shocked. And she said, how can this be? Beena, you need to go speak to a psychologist. You need to open up. There is something that you're keeping inside. You need to open up. Thankfully for me, someone in the house could spot that. But then in the evening, I started analyzing that a few days before this episode happened, I would still feel the same shortness of breath, but not to the level that I felt that day at the ER. I was very overwhelmed. I just didn't know what was it inside me that was making me want to just cry. So I spent that night trying to speak to God. And I said, how can this be? What is it that's bothering me? I'm very much in control. I'm a Christian. I'm a believer. And I'm more than a conqueror. I know these verses, you know. I sought the Lord. He helped me. But somewhere, you sought the Lord. And instead of letting God guide you, you tend to tap on your own resources. That is what happened with me. I had God in my life, but somewhere I started tapping on my own resources. And I didn't realize I had exhausted myself. There were a series of events that happened over the last, about 3-4 years before this incident happened. There were health issues at home. There was, I had had a difficult pregnancy. But having said all that, it was a happy event because everything came out beautifully. Everything works out for the good of those who love the Lord. So I believed that. And I did see that happen in my life. But issues keep happening. Familial issues happen. Financial crises happen. And with me, as they happened, I just wanted to be more than a conqueror. I just wanted to be strong. Everyone saw me strong. But this happened. This event happened. And I had to sit down and think, what is happening? Is this really what I think it is? As I analyzed my thought, I realized that every thought that we think, every move and every action that we make, we have something from the past, maybe from our childhood, maybe from our adolescent years, maybe an experience that kind of comes back into your present. Maybe it is something that you wanted to be. In my case, many a times, it was, I had a picture of myself. I wanted to be like this. I wanted to be strong. I wanted to be achieving. Not that I wasn't, but somewhere I was pushing myself too much. And sure enough, on that day, my body kind of finally gave up and said, this is it, enough. Enough, I can't take it anymore. But what happened for me, thankfully, at the ER was the worst that I saw. I knew exactly that I had to start opening up. My sister-in-law helped me out, my husband and my mom. I started opening up to them. Up until now, I said, it's okay, this will pass, it is fine, we are strong, we will get through this. But then I kept my fears under wraps, kept my anxieties under wraps. Only strength. From that night, I decided, that is it. I have to talk. I have to open up. We have real fears, and we need to talk about it. Many, many hours I would spend analyzing, thinking, what is my thought process? Because I wanted to overcome it. I didn't want to come to a place because I had read so much about panic attacks by then. I didn't want to come to a place where I'm not able to move. And I did have that fear. Over the next year, what happened is, many a times by myself, when I would be sitting at home by myself, just doing my regular, mundane, or just having a relaxing time at home, I would have the same feeling, my heart pounding. I feel like my hands are shivering. But by God's good grace, I managed to overcome it, but I had to start opening up. I opened up first to my husband. I took whatever resources I could. One of the things that helped me a lot was having a much more healthier lifestyle. One of the things. There were other coping mechanisms like first pick up the phone, just like it showed in the video. I'd pick up the phone, I'd sometimes call my mother, or I would call my husband. I'd sometimes just pick up the phone and talk to my sister-in-law, and I would just, maybe I wouldn't touch on the topic entirely, but just as we talked, I would find myself calming down. Over time, all the symptoms pretty much disappeared. But it was a tough 1 year. I didn't like to be left alone. But those days are gone. Every now and then, yes, sometimes when I have not kind of, really faced the reality of the situation, I do come up with it. There is the heart pounding. There is those nervousness feeling, but I've come a long way. But what worked for me is the fact that I opened up about it. There was someone, thankfully for me, in my house, there was a psychologist. She could spot it for me. There are many people, as I started opening up about my problem, there were many people who said, oh, I had that. Oh, I've had that for these many years. Oh, I had a similar experience. I just get scared. And as we spoke about it, we could journey together. We could just journey together and help people just come out of it. They were all my dear friends. So there are a lot of people out there suffering this particular disorder, what they call the anxiety disorder or the panic attacks. And it is time that we start reaching out to people and figuring out ways we can help them. Maybe sometimes it's just a listening ear, and at other times, when it applies to ourselves, opening up and speaking, because help is at hand. God bless you all.